galaxy is burning. Brother fights brother, and treason splits the Imperium of man. This is the Age of Darkness. Welcome to the Remembrancers retreat, coming to you from within the depths of the vengeful spirit.
Good morning. Hello and welcome to the Remembrancers Retreat, a Warhammer 30k Horus Heresy podcast. My name is Jesse. I'm here tonight with Michael.
Hey.
And longtime member of the show. Great to have him back. It's been forever. Austin.
Hey. Well, considering the topics, I couldn't not, right?
Yeah.
Some of my favorite things are up tonight, boys. It's a fun time.
That is true. Tonight, by request that I managed to see on our Discord, someone asked for when were you doing Thousand Suns? I was like, well, since you asked, we'll go ahead and do it, because why not? So tonight's going to be our Thousand Suns 2.0 review, which
Jesse is a generous god.
Perfect timing. And so, fellas, what has everyone been up to?
Thanking patrons.
That's right. I'm going to follow this sheet tonight. As always, has been brought to you by our wonderful patrons. And as always, for each episode, we'd like to thank our Legion Flexomancer level tier patrons: Alex Self, Andrew N., Chaplain SR, Chris Kymick, Chris Mack, Daniel, Edvin Ullman, Real Snice, Rena the Floof, and Variance Hammer. If you'd like to become a patron, enjoy our program after this episode, it's like, I was giving support. Go over to patreon.com/RR30K podcast. Sign up, become a member of different levels, and support the show. We appreciate it. All right. Now, what have we been up to?
There have been a few things. I've been converting up some Inquisition characters and enemies. Looking at a fan-made supplement for Kill Team called Acolyte. That looks pretty neat. So, gonna get some minis together and then give that solo/cooperative mode a shot. See what I think.
Yeah, I remember you showed that PDF a couple weeks ago. That looked pretty neat, actually.
Yeah.
I like the idea of a cooperative Kill Team.
Yeah, looked neat.
Is it like cooperative, like a game master versus a couple folks, or is it a couple folks with a preset mission?
So it has a rudimentary AI system for the enemies, which is how you can play it solo.
Gotcha.
And then to play cooperative, you just have multiple people on the Acolyte side.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the GM could just be the second player too, or third player, one versus whoever. You
could of course play it with a GM, but
Yep.
One of those cases where that's actually easier.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Also, you helped run an AT event.
Yeah,
if I remember right. I wasn't able to make it, but it sounded like y'all had a good time.
Trial of Valanus 3. It ended up being pretty small. Only a few people came out, but it was a ton of fun. Everyone got some great games in. And yeah, went very smoothly. I got to enjoy rapid firing Bellicosa cannons with Reckless Maverick letting me activate twice and just shoot my heat all the way up to red.
Well, that sounds like a good time.
Yeah. Didn't hit with a single one of them, but whatever. It's fine. It's fine. I fired them.
That's the way it goes.
Austin.
You got anything else?
Austin.
Yeah, honestly, haven't been up to a ton of 30K. I did get around because my librarian from 1.0 has not made the transition well into 2.0. He has done more perils than successful casts by a rate of about 2-1.
Ooh,
I feel that.
All right.
And since he normally hangs out with Terminators, we doesn't love it. We doesn't love it. So I created a new Wolf Priest based on the Praetor from the box. Pretty minor conversion. I have some brass etch runes, so I put some of those on. Head from the Space Wolf upgrade box from Forge World. Gave him Power Maul, which is topped with like the Space Wolf Crozius Arcanum, and a little back banner. Just now waiting for that one last day of primable weather in Virginia.
Yeah.
Have finally been doing some hobby of my own after the rush of Nova and some commission work, but none of it 30k related. Did some Forbidden Psalm, which is the Last War, which is some grimdark World War One.
Okay.
Which I accidentally made Blood Pact for. My theme was, so in World War One, the French still had their like bright red like pantaloons.
Yeah.
And there's a famous quote from a French general at the time when he was saying like, no, we are not going to go to camouflage uniforms. That's for cowards. And he said, red pants are France. That's like the direct translation. So my little like 5-man kill team, I decided, well, they're just going to be decked out all in red, because if red pants are France, like more red is better. And then I needed to grimdark them up a little bit. And I was like, well, they can have skulls on their belts of like previous martyrs. I was like, oh, they're blood packed. They're just blood packed. All right, well, fine,
Oops.
I guess.
Accidental blood pack.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Patiently, or I guess not so patiently, awaiting the tiny glory that is New Epic.
Yeah, we're going to just call it New Epic because it's easier to say.
Legiones Imperialis doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well.
It will eventually once we get the hang of it.
But, it will.
Before we get into that, I also have been finally got my hands on the new Plastic Mark III. Gosh, y'all, they're actually pretty nice. Not gonna lie, I'm very impressed with the new Mark III. I was a little trepidatious first, but once I got them in my hands, I'm setting up a 20-man squad of the spoilers and Dark Angel's Deathwing livery. And gotta say, it's pretty sweet. And
how do you like those one-piece backpacks?
I love the one-piece backpacks. That's so much easier than it used to be.
God, so much better.
Those two-piece backpacks before, I'm not a huge fan, and you had to cut them and you had to shave them just right, or else they were just not going to fit right. Pain in the butt. But they've been excellent. I'll probably get my hands on another 20-man squad and make myself a nice consolidated Deathwing allied attachment. I think would be kind of fun to have run around with a Deathwing champion or so.
Yeah.
Let's see. Other than that, I've also just been constantly just making a few new characters here and there with kit bashing, because I'll say it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. The Age of Sigmar. Shoot, what are they called? I just had it in my head.
Not Vigilators.
Nope. The boy.
the great sword guys. The guys with the great swords.
Yeah.
We don't play Age of Sigmar. Yeah. It's fine. We don't know the kit.
Yeah, we don't know.
Vanquishers?
Yeah, that sounds right.
We'll nod along like you're right, and hopefully none of our listeners play Age of Sigmar to correct us.
Those Vanquisher sword arms are the gift that keeps on giving for a Dark Angels player. Just get yourself a box.
They're so good.
And you get yourself a box and you will not be disappointed.
I will say all those new Sigmarines, right? Mm-hmm. Like just the conversion ability for 30k especially, just so good.
Yeah. The arms are slightly smaller, but they've got van braces on already. So if you got Mark III, it's not very noticeable.
No.
And they've got such great arm poses for swords. Like it's everything you can ask for. And it's been a blast to convert up in Kit Bash. Also, it just dawned on me earlier. We were talking, there's been talking here about the new Mark III, and do you like the pickle bomb? Do you not like the pickle bomb on the helmet? I realize they sure as hell had to put that on there to begin with, because can you imagine trying to glue one of those on?
Yeah.
Just mold it on with it and just clip it off if you don't want it. That's actually the smart move. So for me, I've got a mix of on and off. I got some on with some of like my heavier sword guys, but most of them have them off and they look awesome. I know a lot of people still like the old Mark III helmet. which I can appreciate. But honestly, now with this new kit, these helmets, there's something about they got a lot more detail that I really appreciate. I know some like just a flat, but now it looks a little outdated already to me. I don't know why. I still love
think
my
it
Mark III, but
firmly depends on the Legion you're running.
potentially.
Like, I think Iron Warriors, Dark Angels, the ones that have always had the more like Baroque look to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think the new helmets are spot on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know I'm going to get flogged for this, but I'd love to see an upgrade kit that's upgrade of the old Mark III helmets.
You're a madman.
Just for those who want them. Here's
I thought the new helmets, like the old helmets, don't look bad on the new.
no.
What would you upgrade?
You'd make them available to buy.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know,
I've got like 80 of them sitting in a box at home.
So do I, but I also know people who are newer to the game who don't.
And that is why the Bithbox runneth over for new nerds.
That's fair.
It's true. But yeah, I've got
You heard it here first. Fresh Mark III helmets from Austin and Mike.
From Austin,
He's
anyways.
Like, "Man, from Austin anyway." Fine,
You're going to have
be
to go
that
up to
guy.
Fredericksburg for that noise.
but yeah, I've been very
Basically,
happy.
Chaos Wastes.
I was very, very impressed with the new kit. And yeah, we're excited to see. I'm curious what new Mark they'll put in next. I know we talked about this before. I could see them doing Mark IV just to get it out of the way. But they have to do some cool stuff with it because at this point, Mark IV feels boring. That's
Mark
all I
IV
can say.
sucks.
Honestly, what I want more than anything
Mhm.
is a Mark V kit that has enough like straight, like I want, if we're talking like the 20-man box, which seems to be their standard, I'd want like 10 Mark IV, like enough pieces that if you wanted, you could just build 10 Mark IV, right? Check that box. The other 10, I would want Mark V and like a kind of a mix of the, I guess, traditional Mark V look, like the ones you could build from the old marine plastic kit. But also some more esoteric, like things that look more obviously like, well, shit, we just got this old Mark II bit and we're going to slap some stuff on it and go with it. Good enough. And I would also like there to be maybe like 2 complete armor sets worth of Mark VII. So you can like I know they've gone away from like mixing and matching individual bits. Like it's a lot of Marine builds this particular pose of Marine. But if you made it a more mixable kit, like, yeah, you could build 10 Mark IV and 7 Mark V and 2 or 3 Mark VIIs. Or you could just shove all of those together along with some extra Mark III you got lying around. Or, depending on how modular you want to make it, throw a couple of Mark III sets in there too, right? Because maybe they don't combine well with the new Mark III kit. And just say, fuck, here you go. Or even an upgrade kit.
I mean,
right?
so here
that would let you make 10 Mark V, but was partially interchangeable with the Mark III and Mark VI kits, right?
Well, see, Austin, the Mark III and Mark VI are completely interchangeable right now. You could just make a Mark V using the same, CAD, 3D CAD they have going on, and you could just make it easy interchangeable. Once they get the,
well, yeah,
I could see them make Mark VII and have it intertwined with Mark VI and Mark III.
Yeah, like
just
I
do
don't
the
want a whole
old
kit,
all
Mark
the
VII.
firstborn,
Don't
and then
want
you can have a
kit of
Mark
VII,
V.
But man,
Here's what you do. All the armor grades are up. You get a Mark V or a Heresy armor Mark kit with a Mark III, a Mark V, a sprue of Mark VI, and a sprue of Mark VII, and go to town.
Done.
Yeah,
Done.
And just mix and match that.
Be so good.
Which you'll be there once, eventually once they all come out.
Yeah.
For 3.0.
Just in time for 3rd edition. All right, let's get our Legiones Imperialis giggles out of the way because they finally have announced the release.
So soon.
Happy birthday to me.
Yeah, coming on pre-order this Saturday, which for folks listening in the future will be November 18th. 2-week pre-order.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
December 2nd.
So yeah, December 2nd. Yep. That'll be my early birthday present.
Yeah.
Same.
Just in time
still
for
not sure what I'm
everyone
gonna
to
do.
work on it over the holidays and come back in the new year with shiny, tiny armies.
That's the plan.
I've got my plan in place. I've been looking over the leaks, and assuming they're accurate, I know what I'm doing for my first 2,000 points.
Well,
Very
you're a
cool.
step ahead of me. I know what I'm going to do for my mini hammer project, but my actual LI army is still up in the air, except that it's going to be solar oxys because, of course, tiny Lehman Russes make me so happy.
Everything tiny makes me happy at this point.
It's true.
Don't take that out of context, internet.
Nope,
All right.
take it wildly out of context. Already done.
It's too late.
It's too late. It's already on Twitter, formerly known as X. I mean, the other way around. All right. Well, yeah, we'll see you on this tiny side. We'll be running some events once that is out, I'm sure. Have some folks here in Richmond who are quite keen on starting up some tiny mass war.
Shopping
and
at the bit.
not this episode because we have other exciting things to talk about.
For sure.
Next episode or two, also do a little TED talk on painting tiny minis.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like painting 28s, but it's not hard, boys and girls.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
It's fun, and you feel good, and you manage to get it right on the table real quick. And then finally we'll get the rule book in our hands, and then we can actually talk about this goddamn game instead of...
6 months later. We can finally talk about the damn thing.
All right, but tonight, we'll be right back. No, we're just going to go into it right now. The Thousand Suns. Once again, asked for by a fellow on our Discord. I'm sorry I don't have your name right now because I would have to dig through a lot of history, and Jesse don't have that time anymore. But thank you very much. We are going to get started with the Thousand Suns, Legiones Astartes. These are the 15th Legion. Y'all might have heard of a little thing called the Burning of Prospero. Well, these are the folks who got burned on Prospero.
Prospero deserved it. You don't become a demon prince by doing nothing wrong. And with that, I'll try to rein it in.
That's right. For new listeners, Austin is our resident Space Wolf player, and we'll leave it at that. If you want to learn more about Thousand Suns, know that they are they got some cool stuff. They are psychers. They're all psychers.
Wizards in space.
Space wizards.
Yep. Legion, they got a mutation. Suddenly folks could shoot missiles out of their brains. They might have had some issues with mutations going rampant and starting to kill them all. And I think Magnus
had two levels of mutation, right? Because they started out and like know thy foe, Jesse. That's why I know all of this stuff.
I'm glad to have you here, Austin.
Right? I'm channeling my inner Jason today. So they start out a little late to the game, right? They're the 15th Legion. They show up after the Unification Wars are essentially done, as far as like the major actions. So they show up. It's kind of a weird process. Warp storms have blown up on Terra again. Everything kind of stops as far as that initial outward expansion. The Emperor does a bunch of weird psychic shit at this time. Creates the Silent Sisterhood, the Black Sentinels, which are the guys that guard the Astra Telepathica facilities, and then creates the Thousand Suns, which have a weird selection process. The Emperor picks many of the aspirants, the majority even is probably safe to say. They show up. He creates 1,000 of them. Very pretentious. It's not that pretentious. It's the starting size of every legion. Calm down. But then they go on. And the second they take their oath to the Emperor, the warp storms around Terra break again, and it all goes on. They spend about 5 or 10 years just kind of being a bog standard, kind of tiny legion, trying to do the thing like most legions do. And then all of a sudden, as Jesse said, missiles out of their brains. Just like, turns out everyone's an alpha level psyker. And suddenly everybody else around them goes, oh, that's why your selection process made no fucking sense. You're all space wizards. So they go along like that for another 5 or 10 years. And then, oopsies. Turns out that when you create an entire legion of Gen Hance super soldiers to be space wizards, it doesn't go as well as one can hope. And they start mutating. It's this thing called the flesh change. it spawned them, ladies and gentlemen. Spoiler alert, it spawned them. They start turning into chaos spawn. We don't have that word yet because it's like decade 3 of the Great Crusade. And Mike's giving me a weird look now.
It's not quite what they are. Like, close enough.
Is it
but,
not? Is it not?
Actually, no, it's not.
They don't have any minds. They have a lot of weird appendages, and all they want to do is murder people.
They have a lot more fire going on than your average spawn, though.
I mean,
and they do tend to kind of just immolate in place more than
blessing of Zinch.
Run around and kill things.
They do often just kind of self-destruct.
Yeah.
Which is true. So that happens, and it all starts going to shit.
Frankly, they'd be scarier if they turned into spawn.
Well, there is that. It just all starts not working, and forgive me, Jason's not here. I don't remember exactly how long it continues to not work, as just like they're still active at the Crusade, but they can't really grow their numbers because they're taking casualties and everybody's turning into goddamn spawn. It's all going to shit, and then they find Magnus, and that's delightful, quote unquote. Magnus does a deal with, and I quote, a large warp entity to save his sons. That is where rumor has it, he loses an eye to fix them. There's only about 1,000 of them left. That probably is a cult curio. And it all goes back to being fine. They spend another century or two creating the Librarius, stealing all sorts of magic shit. They then make a terrible mistake when Nicaea comes down, and the Emperor is like, you guys don't actually know everything. You're not as smart as you think you are. Calm the fuck down. They do not. They don't calm the fuck down, Mike. You give me that face again.
Oh, they definitely don't calm the fuck down, but that's also not what the Emperor said. If the Emperor had been that chill about it, it might have gone
direct quote, calm the fuck down. Bans the Librarius, tells them to stop doing all of their crazy psychic shit, along with all the other legions who are practicing crazy psychic shit. Everybody else listens to them.
I feel like
100%.
Do they? Sometimes I feel like it's only the Imperial Fists that did. So everyone else has psychers out the ass.
The Ultramarines definitely do 100%.
Okay, fair.
Death Guard, Iron Warriors.
Did they have any
really
to
got
begin
into
with?
it? Yeah, they didn't really get into it.
Yeah.
The White Scars and the Space Wolves, I would argue,
They didn't.
But they're not doing the same thing. But that's another.
No.
This is a whole other argument. And if we get into it now, I'm going to derail the whole goddamn podcast.
The Dark Angels tried to, but we just got too goddamn pragmatic about this shit.
Right.
Look, weird shit happens. You've got dispensations to use AI. What's a couple of mind bullets between friends?
Well, apparently the head of a chaplain, but that's about it.
That fucking guy.
Rip Nemiel.
Anyway. And then, spoiler alerts to anyone who hasn't read Prospero Burns and 1,000 Suns. And I will say, if you haven't, and Jesse might get mad at me, stop listening to the podcast now. Get 1,000 Suns and Prospero Burns. Read them both.
Mm-hmm.
They're on the New York Times bestseller list. They're amazing.
Also, if you listen to the audiobook, they have some cool intro music. That's
also very
the
true.
other ones. They have their unique intro music.
And funnily enough, and this is a bit of a digression, but I find that 1,000 Suns is better read, and that's the one from the 1,000 Suns point of view, whereas Prospero Burns is much better as an audiobook.
Nice.
Which is interesting because, the wolves are much more saga oriented.
Yes, they can't read.
And I mean, like they're good either way. I'm not telling you like don't get the audiobook or don't read Prospero Burns, but that's just a weird thing. But anyway,
I would say it definitely is one of those high tier Horus Heresy
100%
books for sure.
And the great thing about both of them, I feel, is that since there's not like they happen early on in the like when the books were released, but nothing ever comes of them for a good long while. Like there's no callbacks to 1,000 Suns or Space Wolf, like 40 more books in. So you can kind of like, it's a good entry point into the heresy. You can stop and re-listen, like reread, re-listen, without like losing your flow too much. Just all around 10-10. But spoiler alert, Horus betrays the Emperor. Shocking, I know. Magnus sees what's going to happen ahead of time and decides, instead of sending an email or a ship or doing literally anything,
Oh.
and I'm going to try and be polite. I saw Mike raising a finger. He decides that the only way he can do it is to sacrifice 1,000 ? Quite a number of psychers from Prospero, the Thousand Suns homeworld, to superpower his astral projection to go and warn the Emperor, which breaks through all the seals of the Emperor's palace, unleashes a shit ton of demons by accident, and the Emperor goes, "You did fucking what?" And they get censured. I'm not going to go into that because that's a whole other rant that we could go on.
I mean, that's Nikea, right?
No. That's after Nikea. That's after the psychic fuckery. After they were told not to. Which is
okay. I thought this was
Magnus
the
got sanctioned at Nikea.
Yeah,
Not
Magnus was
Sons.
sanctioned at Nikea. The Thousand Sons were sanctioned kind of tangentially in that, like, no more Psychers in the Legion. The whole Legion is Psychers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so Magnus does the thing ostensibly to show how great psychic powers are, because look at me, I warned everybody. That's part of his reasoning, Mike. In 1,000 Suns, he says, this will show the Emperor, and it's the only way I can do it, so we're doing it.
To be fair, his other options were, let's dream really hard at him and see if that gets the point across. Because, sending messages in dreams is so effective all the time, truly.
That is the standard method of
and
transmitting
it works
information.
so well.
But look, there were other options.
Great.
There were other options. You could have sent a ship
Through the warp.
A bunch of stuff could have happened, right?
Magnus
A bunch
was
of
like,
stuff
nah,
could
fuck
happen.
that, we ballin'.
He chose this way, which, by his own admission, was very psychic heavy to get the job done, rightly or wrongly in the moment. Turns out wrongly, because he broached the spears of the Imperial Palace, right? So he is sanctioned. And again, not getting a deep dive into it, but the Wolves and the Custodes and the Sisters of Silence and some other people show up to Prospero. And I'm trying to be unbiased here, Mike. I really am.
Oh, from here on out, it's a shit show. Completely.
Show up to Prospero and essentially, like, say, everybody put down your guns and come quietly. We have to take you to Terra. You did a boo-boo. Whether the Thousand Sons were fully aware of that is a bit nebulous, admittedly. See, I'm trying, Mike. However, Magnus did decide to throw a bit of a hissy fit and do fuck all instead of literally talking to anybody anywhere.
At which point, Space Marines made the decisions, and that's always a bad thing.
Yeah, at which point, people that were taken as 9-year-olds to be super soldiers decided to go be super soldiers,
Make the
like
call.
the 11-year-olds they currently were. It all goes very pear-shaped for most of the people involved. The Thousand Sons get the shit kicked out of them. Eventually, Magnus saves them all, sucks them into the warp. All 1,000 survivors, and that's really the fun of it. They just keep getting reduced to 1,000 fucking Marines. That's the gimmick. And shenanigans occur. Russ breaks Magnus into 1,000,000 pieces, quite literally, as it turns out. And again, that I should have led with that. That's some spoilers. And it goes on until, lo and behold, Magnus is on the outside looking in at the Siege of Terra, quite literally, with all the bad guys, doing all the bad things, as a demon prince with an army of demon summoning psychers. See, I was good.
Yeah.
I was good.
Mostly.
As a sidebar, Magnus's warp collect call definitely hits a little bit different after reading the End and the Death, or the Siege of Terra a bit.
Right.
Definitely hits a bit different.
But this is supposed to be our Thousand Sons cast. Jason's not here to rein me in.
Yep.
I'm a not. And they do cool stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, not to spoil anything.
How do we feel about End in the Death Part 2 spoilers at this point?
Absolutely not a thing that can happen.
Okay.
I haven't read it yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike.
Okay.
All right.
Then
I'm silent.
Sorry, I made assumptions.
That's why I asked.
I'm glad I
No,
didn't say anything.
I have not, because my book showed has arrived a week before the release, and I didn't realize what the pre-release window was. Went to go pick it up. They gave it to me and then took it back.
Oh,
So, GW, if you're listening, your boy at the Fredericksburg GW
oh,
follows the rules. Very like I gotta say, like, it's hard to take a book back from a nerd,
Yep.
right? Because he was like, "Here's the book," and they're like, "Wait a minute, that came out already."
true
He
blue
did a good
company
thing,
man.
right? He towed the line.
Company man. Company man.
But also, please don't send UPS saying my package has arrived if I can't get it yet. And then I just haven't been back to read it. So yeah, all the love in the world, Tally. It just broke my heart a little bit. So yeah, please no to spoilers.
Okay. Well, in that case, if we're going to avoid spoilers, do we want to jump into the actual rules?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
That might have whetted folks' appetite if they want to read more. Plenty there. Siege of Terra.
And I
Thousand
will
Suns.
say, Thousand Suns, kind of like the Space Wolves, only the less good version of it, obviously. Just there is like, of all the legions, I feel like Thousand Suns and Space Wolves have the most interesting journey. For Thousand Suns, more their Legion than their Primarch, and for Space Wolves, more their Primarch than their Legion. But they all kind of weave an interesting path, right? Everybody else, except for the Dark Angels, who are... What the fuck are the Dark Angels doing, Jesse? Who knows?
Hey.
They're real busy trying to cover up some other mistakes, other things going on. But it's not all just like...
you're talking about.
Right? Nothing bad happened from M008 Millennium 31 to M14 M31.
Yeah, just ask the Rangdon. Oh, wait. You can't.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
But like they're one of those legions that like they don't all... It's not just straight up, yeah, you're just loyal and that's the way it is, or yeah, you did a bad thing on purpose to do bad thing. Thousand Suns did bad stuff. It was hubris. We can all admit it.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely hubris.
That's a different thing than like the Luna Wolves or the Death Guard or like the Ultramarines' little indiscretion. So they're a very interesting legion because you can have these kind of... Well, were they as bad as they think? Yes, listeners,
No.
as a Space Wolf player, yes. But I see their point. So yeah, let's dive into it.
All right.
Mind if I get us started?
No, go ahead. No. Yeah.
The Cult Arcana. This is the Legion rule for the Thousand Suns. It very much parallels the Dark Angels Hexagrammaton rules in that what you're going to do is you are going to assign every infantry or cavalry unit that doesn't have the artillery or automated artillery subtype and give them a particular arcana. Where this varies from the Dark Angels rule is that in order to use it, you have to make a psychic check. They're all psychers, so in order to actually use the Legion rule, you gotta do the psyker thing.
Yep, and that affects all infantry and cavalry unit types.
Yep.
They gain a minor arcana, which is like a semi-reduced typical psychic power.
Yeah, baby's first psychic power.
Yeah, it's the one they get from their Prospering Arcana. That's basically their Hexagrammaton. Yeah,
it effectively, like, while it gives them the psyker subtype, it doesn't give them the disciplines. It should be noticed. Like, you don't automatically gain biomancy or anything of that. It's kind of like a minor arcana. Oh man, how did it go?
You get the downsides of being a psyker. You don't really get the upsides.
Yeah,
I mean, you get a little upside.
However, if you are an independent character and for 15 points, you can be upgraded if you're not a psyker already to become a psyker and also gain full-blown psychic disciplines.
Yes, I missed that.
And that is awesome.
Yes.
That is handy. That is actually really cool.
Yes, we love that. That's frankly what you're playing Thousand Suns for.
Yeah, psychic champions.
Yeah.
Space
Force
wizards.
weapons for days, space wizards, mind bullets. and you don't have to be a nerd about it. You can just go murder people.
Mhm.
You can just be a praetor. Spend 15 points. Here you go, boss. Let's go murder people.
Yep. But since we talked a little bit about it, we might as well say what these Prosperian Arcanas are. These are the Minor Arcanas. All models with the character and psychic unit subtypes get to select one Minor Arcana from the following options before the beginning of the battle during army selection. And if a unit contains more than one with the character unit subtype, then all the models still must choose the same upgrade from the special rule. So the first one we have is the Raptora Arcana. When a unit that includes a Psyker with this power is selected to make a move or run during the controlling player's movement phase that ends within 12 inches of an enemy, the controlling player may make a psychic check for the Psyker with this power before any models in this unit are moved. If their check is successful, then all the models in the unit with the Psyker gain a 6 up invulnerable save, or if they already have an invulnerable save, it is increased by 1 step up, like a 6 to a 5. If the psychic check is failed, then the Psyker suffers Perils of the Warp. Now, as a heads up, this buff only affects other models with the Thousand Suns Legiones Astartes rule. So allies do not gain that if you have them running with other character or other legions.
But the Thousand Sons have no friends, so it's fine.
Next up is the Pyre. When a charge is declared for a unit that includes a Psyker with this power, the controlling player may make a psychic check for the Psyker with this power before any dice are rolled to determine if the charge is successful. If the check is passed, then all models in the charging unit with the Psyker subtype and Legiones Astartes Thousand Suns special rule gain the Hammer of Wrath 2 special rule, with all hits inflicted by this Hammer of Wrath special rule counting as flame attacks. If the check is failed, then the Psyker suffers Perils of the Warp.
Can I just say how fucking good that is?
Yeah, Hammer Wrath 2 is pretty good. Is there anything, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, is there anything that's like necessarily weak against flame attacks? Does anything out there suffer extra damage from flame attacks? I know of like resistances.
Yeah.
Swarms.
Oh.
If those exist, yeah. Swarms take extra damage, I believe. I might be mixing editions or indeed thinking of Warhammer Fantasy. Yeah. But it's at least a good bet. Not that I think there are any swarms apart from demons right now.
Yeah.
I'll double check. Yeah, I think there is a swarm unit type, but yeah.
But straight up, like, think about it. You have a unit of 20 Marines, take 40 Hammer of Wrath at Strength 4. You're not mad about it. Hey, you got some Terminators, take some Hammer of Wrath.
I'm not mad about it until I fail that psychic check.
Kill yourself.
Yeah.
Have some Hammer of Wrath. There's always that.
Put it on a chaplain. Just give your chaplain a. Well, hang on.
And I'm sorry. Does it just replace the Hammer of Wrath, or does it increase the Hammer of Wrath?
They gain the Hammer of Wrath 2 special rules. It doesn't say anything about stacking, so I would imagine that.
So it would just replace. So not as good on like bikes or something.
Yeah.
But I think honestly, just for a bog standard tack squad, or even a squad of Terminators, because like
the spoiler squad,
you got a big squad of Termies. Their attack output can still be kind of low to reave through like a 20-man tack block in a turn, right? Like they can be. Throw another 20 Hammer of Wrath in there, and suddenly, I will auto wipe the squad.
Yeah, it's just so unreliable though.
And it's so unreliable. Make a psychic check.
Yeah, and fail it because you have a 50% chance of doing that.
No, you don't.
Do you not?
Leadership 8.
Okay.
Yeah, you got this.
Hey, as someone who lives their life on leadership 5 and 6, it'll be fine.
Hey, and you suffer Perils of the Warp, but guess what? You can just drop that on one of your other goons. The Psyker itself doesn't have to take those.
You still don't get the benefits, though.
No.
I don't know.
But if you could consistently hit with 40 strength for Hammer Wrath attacks,
making it automatic.
I could see.
I get that.
You got to figure out what you want to put on.
But no other legion rules kill them. Everyone else just gets it.
No other legion killed themselves quite so well either.
Yes.
No, I understand that there are some definitely obvious downsides that other legions, like say the Dark Angels, don't really suffer from choosing one thing or another.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
is a good upside. Like,
Yeah, it's a good upside, but I'll take the Dark Angels always just hitting on a 2-up and melee with their
That's not
swords.
necessarily what we get.
No, but
But it's a good.
if you
But
think about
see,
it for
here's the
30
thing.
seconds, that's what you get.
Here's the
Though.
thing. Like they have some decent stuff. However, some of a lot of these are much. I would consider taking these over some of the powers that I get. Like the Dreadwing,
well.
we get a buff against a couple of special type of weapons. A 9 -1 toughness. I wish the Dreadwing had something more sinister. I wish we had more Wargear. Anyways, sorry. This is Thousand Suns.
Sorry, I got us off track.
You're good. You're good. But no, that is a fair thing to say. You can potentially really off yourself with this, but you're playing Thousand Suns. You're rolling those dice with Zinch every day.
Yeah,
I will say you just are doing this, right? Not all the time, but if you play a full 4 or 5 turns with Thousand Suns, and you have 7 infantry and cavalry units, and your leadership 8 and 9, you're gonna blow yourself up a little bit. Just a little bit, but it'll happen.
Yeah. Anyways, next up is Pavoni. When a unit that includes a Psyker with this power is selected to make a move or run move. Make a move or run move during the controlling player's movement phase. The controlling player may make a psychic check for the Psyker with this power before any models in the unit are moved. If the check is successful, then all models in the moving unit with the Psyker subtype and the Legiones Astartes Thousand Suns special rule add a bonus of +3 to the distance they move and may ignore any penalties to their movement for moving through difficult terrain during the movement phase only.
This is much better than it looks.
It takes perils. Yeah, this is actually one of the ones I like.
Like, with only 4 turns a game a lot of times now, with objectives running all over the goddamn map and you got to go chase them down, an extra 3 inches of movement, I'll kill a man for that. I mean, maybe not a Terminator, but I'd kill a TAC Marine for that.
The reason I like it is because it's not something you want all the time. It's going to be, it's a niche ability that when it comes up is going to be fantastic to have.
Yeah.
But you're not going to have any reason to run it every turn and kill your squad.
Yes, you are definitely going to have the opportunity to win games with this power, and you won't have to blow yourself up to do it every turn.
I mean, I'd argue the same with Pyre. You're not going to want to charge with them every turn either.
I'm going to want to charge with them every turn. I may not be able to,
but no, this one.
I don't know. I like going fast, so I'm always going to move an extra 3 inches if I can.
Like the sick part of me kind of wants to go back now that Siege of Chthoniya is out with the core rules and kind of retrace a lot of these legions and see how they run with the core rules in Siege of Chthoniya now versus the original 6 missions.
Yeah, because presumably they were made kind of with the Chthoniya missions in mind. Like, if you
I would think so.
At how long GW has, they could easily have been, depending on the order special rules were created.
The fact that we're now looking at 4-turn games, maybe 5, like that, there's some serious. I was about to say strategery. Jesus Christ, there's some strategic decisions you've got to make now in a lot of ways, especially with just Terminators. Good gosh.
If you just leaned in with that southern accent, strategery would have been fine.
Yeah.
Channeling my George W. Bush. All right. Corvidae. When a unit that includes a Psyker with this power makes a shooting attack, the controlling player can make a psychic check with a Psyker with his power before any rolls to hit are made. If successful, then the first wound scored on the target unit is allocated by the Psyker's controlling player. But once this model has been removed as a casualty, any further wounds are allocated as per normal. Geez, if the psychic check is failed, then the Psyker suffers perils of the warp. So, you throw this guy in with your las cannon squadron.
Yeah, of course.
Or your heavy missile squadron.
It's there for the las cannon squad because the las cannon squad isn't oppressive enough.
No. The move here is to just take it with that bitch standard tactical squad.
No.
All right. You have it with a tactical squad, and then you dump all your fucking wounds on that goddamn Vexilla.
It's the first wound. Just the first wound.
Just the first wound?
Just
I thought
the
it said
first
until
wound.
the model...
Nope.
Until
If the check is successful, then the first wound scored on the target unit is allocated by the Psyker's controlling player.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's wound scored. So once you've allocated a wound to a model, you have to keep allocating until it dies.
That's not how I read that.
But
Then further wounds are allocated as per the normal rules.
Yeah.
Which,
So
unless it's a character, it will have to keep suffering that until it's dead.
Yeah, think about it. You take saves with that sergeant. You make that first save in 2-up armor. You keep having to take that 2-up armor save until he fucking dies. It's the rule.
No, because a sergeant's character, he'll suffer the unsaved wound and pass it on to another bog standard guy.
Well, not if your sergeant's only one wound, then he just fucking dies.
Oh, that is the case.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, yeah,
Sorry.
This won't kill you out a multi-wound character model or a multi-wound anybody, I don't think. But if you're aiming to get rid of that Vex or that bastard with the augury scanner, I think that you allocate to a model and then you have to keep making that save.
Rules written, I'm pretty sure it's you allocate all the wounds and then you save.
Please continue while I
Yeah.
while I check this out.
But here's my thing.
Because you're right. That is the difference between this being I wouldn't say great, because again, you can always perils and fuck yourself, but being worth it and just like a general thing to being very niche, you shove it on a las cannon squad or somebody where that first wound is never going to be saved. So I'm gonna dive in and find out, but you guys keep going. Keep going.
So as Master Signal Corvidae, get that +1 to hit. Put him in your 10-man las cannon squadron because you know fucking no absolute regulation at all whatsoever. And then enjoy. Right. Athenian. When a unit that includes a Psyker with this power makes a shooting attack, the controlling player may make a psychic check for the Psyker with this power before any rolls to hit are made or reactions declared. If successful, the enemy unit targeted by a shooting attack must reduce the leadership characteristic of all models in the unit by 1 for any pinning or morale check caused by a shooting attack. If the psychic check has failed, then the Psyker suffers Perilous of the War. I would say that the mortals quiver in fear.
I would say I'm never going to make that leadership check to try and get this to come off. Mortals don't need to quiver in fear. They're going to be dead.
Yeah, fair enough.
Rude.
Particularly since I'm just, taking oops, all Psykers as my characters and flinging so many pyromancy pie plates across the battlefield. They'll just
I'm looking. One thing I noticed looking at this.
Here we go. Pausing us now.
All right.
As this is from their example, because it is vaguely I could see you could argue it a little bit in how allocate wounds is, because it says, hey, first, the player whose unit is the target of the attack selects any one model in the unit that is within line of sight, blah, blah, blah. And then if you already lost a wound, but it's not being removed to a casualty, it must be allocated to such a model, blah, blah, blah. However, in their example, they say, hey, Thousand Sun shooting an Imperial Fist. They score 7 wounds on the Fist unit, all from bolters, forming a single wound pool. The Imperial Fist player chooses to allocate the first wound to Model A, which is in range and line of sight. Mm-hmm. The first wound is saved, and the Imperial Fist player must continue to resolve wounds from the wound pool against that model. And then the model dies on the third wound. And it's just a tactical Marine. Okay. So I think with this psychic power, you just pick a guy, and if he's not like an independent character or something where you could futz around with it, he just stands there and takes it until he falls over. Which, fuck you, guy with augury scanner. Can I get an amen?
Amen. One thing I noticed here is that none of these require you to forego your shooting attack.
No.
To pull these off. You can still make your shooting attack with whatever weapon you have, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, for sure.
And still pull this minor arcana, which is nice. You don't have to enlist. Yeah.
Yes, they can shoot and use their Legion rule. Just like everyone else. It's so
I have to snap fire. I have to snap fire when I use my Legion rule.
That's because you're running.
And charging.
And shooting. Excuse me if we're
look, let's not bicker and argue about what I may or may not be allowed to do.
All right. So yeah, those are the Prospering Arcanas. This is definitely something. If you like high risk, high reward, go for it. Zinch will smile upon thee, maybe half of the time.
I mean, he'll smile, but that doesn't really, it's not a good indicator of what's happening on the
No.
field.
No, of course not. All right, I'm going to go skip over the Warlord traits and rights real quick just to give a brief overview of the Armory of the Thousand Suns, because that's technically part of their Astartes rule. Go ahead.
Nope. I see the list in the order we're doing things in. Never mind.
No worries. All right, so the Armory, yep, this is Thousand Suns. They have effectively three, classes of special weapons. They have the Aether Fire Cannon, the Asphyx Shells, and the Achaea Pattern Force weapons. So for Aether Fire, any model with the Thousand Suns special rule may exchange a plasma pistol for an Aether Fire pistol, a plasma gun or plasma blaster for an Aether Fire blaster, a plasma cannon for an Aether Fire cannon, or a Gravis plasma cannon for an Aether Fire magna cannon for no additional points cost. You don't pay for these. These are just swapped out. It should be noted that the Aether Fire weapons count as plasma and force weapons for rules that affect such weapons. So you've had 4 here. You got the Aether Fire pistol, which swaps out for your plasma. It is a 10-inch range, strength 6, AP 4. It has pistol 1, rending 6 up, and Achaean force. So you're going to see Achaean force on this and the Achaea force weapons on all of these. Achaean force is that the controlling player of any unit that includes one or more models with the Psyker unit subtype and a weapon or ability with this special rule may choose to activate the special rule before making any attacks with that weapon or resolving the ability. To activate the special rule, you make a single psychic check using leadership characteristic of any model in that unit that does not have the independent character special rule. And if the check is successful, then the strength value of all attacks made with weapons or abilities with this special rule is increased by 2, in addition to any modifiers the attack or weapon may already possess. This benefit is applied only in the phase in which the attacks are made and ends immediately after that phase is resolved. If the check is failed, then no benefit is gained, but the models in that unit may attack as normal.
Do they suffer perils?
No, not that I see here. You just don't get that +2. Looking at this.
So I think that's just a solid win as far as equipment goes. It bleeds off a couple of inches of range, and I think that carries through, right, Jesse? They're all a couple of inches shorter range than their like rifle, plasma cannon.
That looks correct.
They're also trading breaching 4 up, I believe is what plasma has, for rending 6 up.
Yes. So it's higher strength, but it also brings you typically over to strength 8, which is the threshold for a lot of...
Sure. You're instant deathing a lot of stuff. Or, more importantly, in this day and age, hurting dreadnoughts on better than a 4. Only rending 6, admittedly. But not bad. I wouldn't swap out every plasma weapon I have for this, but I certainly would.
And I don't see...
More than half?
Yeah, and I don't see any issue with being able to turn these on as a reaction as well, as part of a reaction. Yeah. Those aren't affected. So yeah, you have the pistol, which is range 10 inches, strength 6, AP 4. You have the Aether Fire Blaster, which replaces plasma guns or plasma blasters. 18-inch range, assault 2, rending 6 up again, also Achaean force.
Assault, though, that's an interesting.
Assault 2 isn't bad. That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
You have the Aether Fire Cannon, which replaces the plasma cannon, is 24-inch range, which I think drastically. I think
that's
plasma
a full
cannon
12 shorter. Plasma cannon's 36.
Much shorter. Still strength 6 and still AP 4, and still only running 6 up.
Yeah.
Heavy 1. I'm not feeling
heavy
good about this
blast?
one. Heavy 1 blast. It's heavy. It's small blast, 3 inches.
So the same size. Yeah. I think this is one of those where, like, at the pistol level,
you've got
some yes, some no. It kind of depends on the day you're having.
I can maybe see an argument for it, but
I can see an argument for it. Certainly not all the time.
You're coming up against diminishing returns here.
Yeah, I think the blaster though is a solid upgrade.
Yeah,
especially on some units that you kind of want in an assault. but you can give plasma weapons too, right? Because anybody can take these.
Anyone
could you,
who
like,
can
put
take the plasma weapon.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right. So
So
that's
support squad
Yeah, there's some options there.
for free.
But yeah, that plasma cannon replacement.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, that's
I think I'd stick to the regular plasma cannon.
losing 12 inches of range is really what does it for me. Like even just saying, hey, same range, stat swap, it would be kind of a 50-50 for me.
For sure.
But oof. 24-inch range. You only got 4 turns to kill things, boys and girls.
Yep. And then the final one, which replaces the Gravis plasma cannon, which is your Dreadnought one, is 36-inch range. Still strength 6, AP 4. This one's heavy 1, but also this one's a large blast, 5 up. But still rending 6. Can force.
I can maybe see an argument for the small arms, but also, I guess what I'm feeling is I'm never going to wish I'd taken one of these instead of a plasma gun. There might be cases where I wish I'd taken a plasma gun instead of these.
Yeah. It should also be noticed that this is rending 6 up and not just breaching.
Sure.
So you do have the extra damage against vehicles. So you do have more vehicle punching, which helps. But
if you're fighting a lot of dreadnoughts, or if you know the other guy is going to have a decent amount of tanks, I want this over a plasma rifle.
I don't.
At the small arms level. At the small arms level, I do.
Even at small arms, I'd rather be punching through saves.
Tanks don't have saves.
Yeah, dreadnoughts do though.
Yeah, but I'd rather be wounded on 2s and 3s.
Yeah.
But, to each his own.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, that's the Aether Fire.
But I will say this. The fact that you can have this discussion means it probably is a good bit of Wargear, that it's not just an auto upgrade.
It is free. Honestly, if it cost anything, I would
Yes, if it cost any points, that'd be a different discussion altogether.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want it, Mike, until somebody comes out with an armored spearhead list and you're going, fuck me.
No.
I really wish I had strength 9 to deal with all this shenanigans.
No, I'm just building anti-tank into my lists and dealing with them that way.
All right, what else we got?
Asphyx shells.
Go for it.
All right. Any model with Legiones Astartes Thousand Suns may exchange a bolt pistol for an Asphyx bolt pistol, or a bolter for an Asphyx bolter for 1 point per weapon. All of these count as bolt weapons for any rules that affect such weapons. The Asphyx bolt pistol is 8-inch range, strength 4, AP 5, pistol 1, shred. The bolter is 18-inch range, strength 4, AP 5, rapid fire, shred. Bolt cannon, 24-inch range, strength 6, AP 4, heavy 4, shred.
It's the most hilarious Zone Mortalis bolt gun you've ever seen in your life, except for the ones that can be AP.
Right. Mixed feelings. I feel like the ranges are brought down a little too much.
I feel like mortals love the reduced AP.
Speak for yourself. I play militia.
Well, that was your first mistake.
But with the shred,
We've
also
wasted that 1 point.
You're effectively getting the preferred enemy on this anyway. Or is it not to wound? Sorry, not preferred.
Again, I think this is something that on a heavy bolter equivalent, not really worth it. Like, it's not worth giving up a third of your regular ball extender bolter. Yeah, especially if you combine it with what's the one that gets you that extra 3 inches of movement when you need it?
Okay,
Pavoni.
Here's the thing.
Pavoni?
With standard bolters, I get Fury of the Legion.
I play Space Wolves. I've never used Fury of the Legion.
He plays Imperial Fists, so
yeah, right. and there's your sign.
Okay. Well,
do you not get Fury of the Legion with a regular?
No,
bolter?
you do not. You
don't
have to have just a bolter. It's not a bolt weapon. Just a bolter.
You don't do it with pistols anymore?
Nope.
Wild.
Just bolters. And yeah, I play Imperial Fists, but I will also say that I've played several Thousand Suns players. None of them have used Aetherfire or Asphyx.
Well, they lack fun.
And they've been mad about Achaea Force pattern force weapons, excuse me.
Yeah, let's look at these force weapons here. What we got? So, Any model with both Thousand Suns and character unit subtype may exchange a power weapon for any one Achaea pattern force weapon for no additional points cost. A model with the independent character special rule may not select this option. Well, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a bad sign.
A model with a what? Sorry, repeat that.
An independent character cannot take one of these weapons.
I'll talk you through why that is.
Well,
Okay.
hold on. Let's get the
But
whole rule out
finish
first.
reading first.
Yep. These are counted as force weapons for those rules that affect such weapons. This is page 259 for folks at home as well. You have the Achaea Force Sword, which is Strength User, AP 3, Melee, Rending 6 up, Achaean Force, which is your psychic check for a +2 to Strength. Then you have the Force Axe, which is +1 Strength, AP 2, Unwieldy, Achaean Force. And the Force Maul, which is Strength +2, AP 3, Melee, Achaean Force. They don't.
So they're all just power weapons with Achaean Force. What Achaean Force does is gives you a +2 to Strength. What regular Force does is double your Strength. These are mini Force weapons to give to your sergeants because your characters are all Psychers. And theoretically should be able to take actual Force weapons.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, they can't, which makes it really weird. In reality, it's just librarians who can take Force weapons.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, obviously,
it really feels like an oversight.
Right? Like, you don't want everybody and their brother having fucking Strength 14 running around here.
It's fucking Thousand Suns. They're all space wizards and cost 1 million points. I would be fine with it. They can have Force weapons, but
I mean, that Force Maul is AP 3, Strength 8. That's still hilarious.
And can't be taken by independent characters.
Yeah, but fuck them.
And hits at initiative.
They have a real Force weapon.
Well,
they don't.
If you're playing a librarian, only if you're playing a librarian. Your Praetor cannot take a Force weapon.
Giving him a discipline, making him a Psyker, doesn't let them.
It does not make them a librarian. Does not change their Wargear options.
Well, I don't need him to be a librarian. I just want a Force weapon. That is a weird oversight.
Yeah, it's real weird, and I really feel like it's an oversight. And it was supposed to be independent characters can't take Achaean Force weapons because they're taking actual Force weapons.
Yeah.
Except that's not actually what the rules say.
Well, should have played a better Legion. I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ.
It snuck out. I apologize, listeners. I apologize.
All right, you get that one, Austin.
Get that one.
You get that one.
And then we hit mute.
So now, let's work our way back to page 253, and we have the Thousand Suns Advanced Reaction. Fortress of the Mind. My little mind fortress. And my mind palace. This advanced reaction may be used once per battle during the opposing player's shooting phase when an enemy unit declares a shooting attack targeting the unit under reactive player's control, made up entirely of models with the Thousand Suns special rule and Psyker subtype. Once the active player has resolved all hit and wound rolls, but before any armor saves are made, the reactive player must make a psychic check. If passed, the reacting unit gains a 3-up invulnerable save against all wounds inflicted as part of the shooting attack that triggered the reaction. If failed, you only gain a 5-up invulnerable, and both the attacking unit and reacting unit suffer perils of the warp, removing any casualties immediately before resolving any unsaved wounds inflicted by the shooting attack that triggered this reaction. Again, you're looking to get yourself fucked over by using your own reaction. I'm picking up what you're putting down, Michael.
So I can feel the pain in the rear end from Thousand Suns players on this. Like you said, it's piling on, right?
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of periling going on. However,
this one I don't mind.
I really, really like it.
For a 3-up invulnerable save, I feel like that's kind of a fair trade-off.
Also, the thing about this one is if you do perils, both sides take the damage.
Yeah. That is
after the hit and wound rolls, but before armor saves. So oh fuck, that Mortariat just dropped in with dual plasma and did 12 wounds to my tactical squad. Hey, fuck you, buddy. Take perils of the warp. And P.S. I'm going to get a 3-up invul save. Or, hey, I've got one guy camping this objective. Fuck. Well, he only did 2 wounds to him. But it's, they're rending or they're from las cannons. Well, shit, I'm going to do this and get that 3-up invul against them, and maybe I'll live and win the game. Like, I really like this, and I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. They like reactions that kill people, right? They like that Space Wolf reaction where, oh, you moved a little too close? Fuck you. It's assault time now. But I would argue that this is better. Like, I will straight up have that argument with somebody right
The
now.
problem is, if you
No,
fail
we
the
don't have
check,
time right
you're
now.
also suffering. Like if you succeed the check, the opponent doesn't take peril. It's only if you fail, and
That
then
is
you have
true.
to also shoot yourself in the foot too to do it.
I definitely think this is one of the better parts of the Thousand Suns rules that we've read so far. But I don't think it's as good as, say, the Best Defense.
Well, it does make me a little sad that the nobody suffers perils when you succeed in it. I wasn't paying careful enough attention, admittedly.
Yeah.
I'm 2 beers in. It's fine. But the reactive player will basically make a psychic check with whoever you want in that squad. Like, can you aim for a failure?
I mean, it's the problem is once you aim for a failure, you're going to succeed every time.
That is true.
Yeah.
Let's be real here.
It
As
doesn't
a
specify,
long-time
though.
militia player.
Yeah.
So you could theoretically be like, hey, Leadership 7 Mook, 50-50. You going to make this happen? No? Oh, no. Fuck you, Mortariat. Which probably isn't as likely to kill him as just Fury of the Legioning return fire, but
That's,
it is how it be. But again,
You got to look cool doing it.
A Leadership 9. This is for, and it's just any unit, right?
Yeah, it has to be all 1,000 Suns and all Psychers, so most infantry.
Yeah, pretty much all of them. Yeah. I still like it, and I actually like this best on bikes because bikes are probably, they're doing bike stuff. You still want to charge with them. They're doing stuff. They probably don't have that invul save up at the point where bad things are happening to them, because that's when bad things happen to bike squads.
Yeah.
Give them a 3-up invul save.
Yeah.
Delightful.
Beats an evade for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, because then they're not evading, so they're still just going to come murder you afterward. The only thing I will say, though, it is just a 3-up invul save against all wounds inflicted as part of the shooting attack. You don't keep it until like the end of the opponent's shooting phase or anything like that.
Yeah.
Correct.
You may still have to evade at the end of all of this, but it does let you lull at that 10-man las cannon squad.
Can you evade after doing a different reaction, though?
That's true. You can't.
Nope. Nope. This is a one-trick pony.
I'm coming further and further down off this reaction. Well,
that's how I feel about.
I said it.
Thousand Suns
I said it once,
general.
and they said I can't say it again. So here we are.
All right.
But you know what this is really good in? Zone Mortalis.
You can't use advanced reactions in Zone Mortalis.
Yes, you can.
God damn it!
Yeah, they changed that in the Cathonia book.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sorry, Austin. Didn't mean to give you a heart attack there.
It's back on the menu.
I'm trying so hard over here.
We appreciate it.
Austin, you have been the brunt of a lot of actually today. I apologize.
Well, let the history book show that I was right about one thing. 2 things now. I'm up to 2. The fucking Corvidae or whoever can just fuck one regular tactical marine straight to hell.
Yes.
And you can use your advanced reactions in Zone Mortalis. That's all I got.
I have Rites of War here first, but let's hit up the Warlord traits. Let's take a little detour down to Warlord Trait Town.
Ooh.
On page 256.
As is often the case, there are 3 of them.
And one is Locked to Traitor.
Evoker of Pain, traitor only. When a warlord with this trait fails a psychic check and suffers perils of the warp, neither the warlord nor any models in a unit it has joined suffer any wounds. Instead, select one enemy unit that either has at least one model within 6 inches of the warlord with this trait, or is locked in combat with the warlord with this trait. The selected enemy unit suffers D3 wounds against which only invuln saves may be made, and no damage mitigation rolls may be made. If there's no valid enemy unit within 6 inches, then resolve perils of the warp against the warlord's unit as normal. Wounds inflicted in this manner during the assault phase do not count for combat resolution and never cause morale checks or pinning tests. In addition, you get an additional an additional reaction during your assault phase, or during the opposing player's assault phase.
This is hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah, this actually solves a lot of the issues we have going on here.
At least, well,
I mean, like it doesn't
Just
like perfect. It doesn't
stay
help
close.
fully, but
yeah.
it helps mitigate a lot of that issue that we have here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I do like it because it's hilarious. I don't know if it helps mitigate for two reasons. One, this is only one unit that's being helped
True,
out.
it's only the warlord.
Mm-hmm.
And two, the warlord's going to be what, leadership 10?
9 or
Most
10,
likely,
but again,
most likely.
Yeah.
who gets to make the psychic check?
I feel like a lot of them specify your highest leadership.
Yeah.
This one says specifically when a warlord with this trait fails a psychic check. and suffers perils.
Oh, it's just the warlord?
All
Oof.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, on the off chance you fail, it's going to be funny. There is that
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
So
And admittedly, I
I
don't
rescind
want
a bit
big
of what I
buffs
said
for
earlier.
my warlord traits. So
Yeah. I do like it. I just don't think it's great. And there's Magister Prospero, which is great. A warlord with this trait, and any model with the Legiones Astartes Thousand Suns special rule in a unit it joins that makes a psychic check, such as when using the Force or Psychic Focus ability special rules, may roll an additional die and discard the highest rolled die before determining the result of the check. In addition, an army whose warlord has this trait may make an additional reaction during the opposing player's movement phase. So, Evoker of Pain, if you are close to an enemy unit and you perils, you damage another unit. Magister Prospero, you just don't fail psychic checks.
both have their point.
Yeah.
But I like this last one here.
Yes.
Eidolon of Suffering.
This is the
Not to be
weird
confused
one.
with the other Eidolon, who is certainly suffering. This one in red and or blue. A warlord with this trait, and this is funny because this is like for the special needs Thousand Sun, the one who's not much of a psyker, broken from some transgression, some sorcerer's experiment gone wrong, defect in the gene seed, not only incapable of channeling the ethereal, but suffering pain at its touch. Just, what are you doing here? Go kill yourself. And you get these guys. They don't use psychic powers or psychic weapons, which admittedly is a bummer if you're a Thousand Suns player. And they gain the Adamantium Will 3-up special rule, which is very solid.
Mhm.
When any model, friend or foe, makes a psychic check within 12 inches of the warlord, you roll a d6. On a 1, nothing happens. On a 2-up, you get the Rage 2 special rule for the remainder of the battle.
Yup.
And then, if this trait would grant the warlord Rage 2 a further time, you just increase the Rage rule by 1, up to a maximum of Rage 4. And you get another reaction in the shooting phase. 10-10, no notes.
This is
The
great.
best Thousand Suns warlord is one who isn't a psyker.
Yeah. It's the one who just gets madder and madder the more you use magic. And you're 1,000 Suns, so you're going to use magic every turn.
Grandpa said no, guys.
That is pretty awesome, though.
I'm super
Yeah.
serial.
That one's fun.
Yes.
So we are going to call it for part 1 here. And then later on, next episode will be a part 2 where we discuss the units and the rites of war for the Thousand Suns. And I'm sure we'll find something we like here, Michael, right?
Oh, yeah. From here on out, I'm a lot more positive. Sorry.
All right.
I know I've been negative this go.
No, you're
I'm
fine.
not going to apologize for that because I
No.
meant every word I said. However,
Yeah, absolutely.
when getting into the actual units, there's some stuff to like here.
Yeah, for sure. I know.
Yeah.
Not saying your
yeah.
criticisms aren't valid either.
It certainly, we'll say, compensates for what you could argue are kind of lackluster Legion special rules and advanced reactions, Wargear, and the Warlord traits are all right.
Psychic Dreadnought. Next time
Psychic,
on the
psychic robots,
Remembrance
all
Retreat.
sorts of psychic robots.
Beep
Maybe.
boop. Beep boop. Zippity zap. Abracadabra. All right. Wrapping it up. Local events. The Holiday Mega Battle Return of Sinterklaas at Battlegrounds on the 9th of December 2023. Links for the event are in the show notes. Legions Imperialis will be doing events here soon. Get ready. And we also have early 24, another 30K event at Battlegrounds.
I have details on
If
this.
All right, go for it.
Event is called Battles in the Black. It will be Saturday, January 13th at Battlegrounds.
That's in Midlothian, Virginia, for folks.
Expect lots of darkness.
Ooh, spooky.
Very spooky.
All right. Once again, thanks for listening to our podcast. If you enjoy this program, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at RR30K Podcast. Thanks again to GoblinsHut.com, the North American home of Dirty Down special effects washes and sprays. Patrons receive a 15% discount on all their orders. That's GoblinsHut.com. If you enjoy our program and like to support us, go over to patreon.com/RR30K Podcast. You can follow us and join our Discord server community. The link is in the show notes. Leave a rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to. All right, my name is Jesse. I'm here with Michael.
Hey.
And Austin.
Bye.
Keep them dice rolling. Bye for now. We'll see you next time.
Got a little manic there at the end.